Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl review. Ever since reading Rascal Does Not Dream of a Sister's Home Alone, I've been eagerly awaiting the release of the following volume. Not just because this is one of my favorite series, but also because we're not finally into the content with the TV anime didn't adapt. With Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl in hand, let's find out what's in store for our cast next. The previous book may have been largely focused on exploring Kaede's story, but readers may recall that Shoko, Sakota's first love, was also part of the plot. The ending of the book left us with Shoko at Sakota's house and Mai coming home to find them together. This installment picks up right where what ended, with Mai understandably very mad with Sakota for not telling her that Shoko has been staying with him. If trying to salvage his relationship wasn't enough, Sakota also needs to work out what's going on with Shoko. He's met her both as a young girl and junior high in her present situation as a college student. In fact, the junior high version of her was coming over to visit his house in the last few weeks, so it's not possible for her to also be in college, at least not without some sort of adolescent syndrome going on. And if that's the case, what's causing it? Who's struggling to explain himself to Mai. Sakota turns to his best friend, Ryu Futaba, to mediate for him, when she has no interest in getting involved in his relationship problem. Ryu is intrigued by Shoko's situation, especially having gone through something similar herself in Volume 3 of the series. Ryu's theory is that both versions of Shoko exist at the same time, which is something Sakota goes and confirms when he learns little Shoko has been checked into the hospital for the extended period due to her health condition. As it turns out, Shoko's health is to the point that the doctors have estimated she will only live until she is in junior high. At least they find a heart donor, because of this Shoko has never dreamed about her future, yet the older version of her was to return to Sakota's life is healthy, free-spirited and optimistic about life. Ryo and Sakota wonder if this version of Shoko has been born from little one's fear of dying without reaching adulthood, an accomplishment and anything, or could it be that the truth is far stranger? Now, Rascal Does Not Dream of a Sister Home, its entry and the series is highly emotional, not just because of Shoko's storyline, but also what it means for the relationship between Sakota and Mai, who have been together since the end of the first book. Mai feels guilty for not being there to support Sakota during Kaede's struggles and knows that Sakota was saved by Shoko in the past, when Kaede's adolescent syndrome were started. She worries it won't take much of Sakota's love to be rekindled with the older Shoko and does not leave her relationship with him, especially when he hasn't been truthful about Shoko staying with him to start with. Of course, Shoko's story on its own short that grieves readers with their heart, and refused to let go until the end, after the complaining previously about her story being sidelined and sandwiched into arcs that are focused on something else. He has still worked out surprisingly with student readers are both attached to the characters and intrigued by the storyline. He also helps that author Hajime Kamoshida is spending plenty of time with this arc, if going so far as to split it across two separate books, which I warn you, dear readers, has left us with one of the most painful cliffhangers in the series so far. Honestly, Kamoshida's writing just keeps getting better and better. I thought the last book was going to be as emotional as the series could get, but this one almost tops it. I'm not sure how many more tears I can shed over the series without turning into an emotional wreck, so I hope there is a happy ending and the horizon to make up for all the pain so far. If you watch the anime film, Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl, you already know where the storyline goes, since it adapted this book and the following, Rascal Does Not Dream of Tatsukoi Shoujo, which might be the better way to experience it. Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl comes to the West thanks to Yen Press and continues to be translated by Andrew Cunningham. The translation reads well with no issues to note. Next up in the series is Rascal Does Not Dream of Hatsukoi Shoujo, which Yen Press currently has scheduled for the English release in April. Overall, Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl proves another powerful entry in the series. Fans will be pleased that we're finally getting into the bottom of Shoko's story after all this time, but you might want to read this one back to back with the next book to avoid the cliffhanger ending. Whatever the case, make sure you have tissues at the ready. 9/10.